My name's Andy Hood, originally from Adelaide, grew up in the Port Adelaide area, West Lakes. So when I was 20 I went overseas and lived over there for about 3 years and then came back to Adelaide and became a tour guide, which was something that I really wanted to do when I was overseas. We were coming up to Alice Springs, Northern Territory, doing tours from Adelaide, and I thought it'd be a great move for my career, so I moved up early 90s I think, or sort of middle of the 90s. Tour guiding, I went into other aspects of tourism and become a manager and then eventually got into umpiring. There was a role that came up as the General Manager in Central Australia. Some of the guys in the administration of AFLNT thought it might be a role that I'd be suited to, and they asked me to put in an application, and so I did, and lucky enough I was successful to become the General Manager of AFLNT in Central Australia, and that was about 6 years ago. When I took this role over, there was a lot to work on. We needed to bring families back into football. Our footy league was a bit depressed. One of the things that we've been able to develop in Central Australian football is female football. It's in its 5th year now, and we're just getting more females involved, and that's brought families to our footy.
Get in there! Let's go, Carol!
We've got 9 remote programs through the Northern Territory that work with school kids in the communities, and we're seeing some great pathways. Kids go from at that very low level into the NT Thunder. So we really think sport has a massive part to play in pathways in developing young kids in the Northern Territory, and we really think that associations and governments can probably really invest in those areas. We really feel that we've seen that it's worked, and that we think that in communities, remote communities, and also in Alice Springs and Darwin, that if we can put our resources, investments into developing kids in sport, I think they come out really, really well out the other side and become really good adults through their development. There's probably this thought from people in the state that living in Central Australia and Alice Springs, in remote areas of Australia, that we wouldn't really have facilities or the usual facilities that you would have in a city. And that's just not true. You know, on one given weekend you can go camping and then you come back into town and you get all the facilities like internet that you'd expect anywhere else in Australia. So the one thing I would say is that we've got the best of both worlds. I think Alice Springs is an amazing place. I just feel so lucky that I got to come to Alice Springs 18 years ago. The fact that we have a great town of Alice Springs of 28,000 people with all the opportunities both in sport and in career and school and just lifestyle in the middle of Australia, I think it's just an amazing special place, and I think everyone should try and get there one day and try it, because coming from the city, I think you'll find there's a lot of things in Central Australia that you really are searching in life. The opportunities in sport and tourism that I've had in Alice Springs and Northern Territory have been amazing, and you just wouldn't have got that anywhere else. One of the things that I really feel strongly about and really feel privileged to be part of football is the kids. They have 2 hours where they can be anyone and on a level playing field, and footy gives that to the kids. Being able to provide those opportunities, I think, for me, is one of the special things about being in football. I'm Andy, I live in Alice Springs, I work for AFLNT and I'm developing the North.